When it comes to Title 42, all along we've been following the science. That's what this is about. So when the CDC and others conclude that the science doesn't warrant that, as is now happening, then we'll take action.
So Secretary Blinken arguing and defending the termination of Trump-era pandemic restrictions at the southern border. And now we're told there's about a flood that will be reopened in a significant way. Senator James Lankford, Oklahoma Republican, member of the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. Senator, nice to see you and good morning to you.
Good morning.
You were telling us during the commercial break that you believe that you will now see an explosion of more refugees. How many?
Not just I believe that. DHS actually, in their own internal numbers, thinks that once they drop Title 42, they'll have 1 million people within 6 weeks that will illegally cross the border. The people are piling up right now south of the border, waiting on the Title 42 drop. And they're trying to figure out how to be able to manage it. Their focus right now is focused on how to keep there from being chaos at the border rather than how to actually control the border. So they're adding more of those soft-sided facilities to be able to temporarily detain more. They're also looking to do what they call interior processing, where they'll actually pick people up at buses at the border, move them to the interior of the country, and release them from there. Their focus is how to stop chaos rather than how to actually stop people from illegally crossing the border.
They have several COVID protocols are still in place. As the Secretary said, they say they're following the science. But a couple of them are the vaccine mandate, which applies to most healthcare workers. And then this one, though, the public transportation mandate. Right. So that anybody on public transportation, including air travel, has to wear a mask, for example, and international travelers have to be vaccinated and submit proof of a negative COVID-19 test. That has been what it is, and now you have this huge decision with major consequences.
Yeah, what they're saying is they're following the science, but at the same time they're saying there's no problem at the border. They're literally firing members of the military that's saying if you don't get the shot for COVID, then we're going to release you from the military because there's a pandemic going on right now. If you're going to get on an airplane, you've got to be able to wear a mask because there's a pandemic going on right now. But if you want to cross the border illegally, it's over down there. They're not even mandating those individuals cross the border actually get a shot. They're offering them a vaccination, but not requiring them to be able to take a vaccination.
Two questions on this. The enforcement of this border has, it's confused a lot of people.
Right.
Why do you think they've allowed it?
Well, I think it's just the far left philosophy at this point. They really believe in an open border, and they're facing their own left at this point to try to determine. Well, there's a lot of speculation that's about voting. If that's what it really is, then they're sorely mistaken because more and more Latinos are voting more and more conservative when they see the policies of the Biden administration. So that's the mistake. I just think it's a philosophical issue. It's kind of like the environmental issues at this point. The left is just obsessed with getting rid of fossil fuels, even if it kills our economy at this point. They're obsessed with it. They're the same thing on the open border side. Even if it kills the economy, even if it causes other issues, they just say Trump was mean. That's the constant statement. Trump was mean, so we're not going to be mean. We're just going to open up the borders.
You're finished?
Well, I can't
be. Okay.
There's a lot there.
Go ahead. Going. Cynically, could you argue they expelled 1.7 million people under the Biden administration using Title 42, correct?
1.1. Yeah, 1.1.
1.1. Right. Okay, well, we're reading 1.7. So anyway, it's more than 1 million people.
It is.
Cynically, would you argue that they used Title 42 to turn people away? Well, because of their lax policies?
They did turn those 1.1 million people away based on Title 42. There were 2 million people last year that crossed illegally. 1.1 million they turned away. 900,000 they allowed in. So just to put a perspective into this, there's now been about 2.3 million people. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers around here, but 2.3 million people in the 14 months of the Biden administration that have illegally crossed the border. That is more than all of the previous 4 years combined. So this is an astronomical increase. And if you talk to the leadership in Central America, which I have, they're furious with the Biden administration because their best workers are leaving and coming to the United States to make more money. And so it's hurting their economy there. So while this president says we're going to go for the root causes of migration, what they're doing with this policy is actually hurting Central America's economy even more by taking their best laborers and coming to the United States. So it's actually hurting that whole region even more.
Have you ever, do you know if Kamala Harris has been involved in this decision? Because, and you just mentioned root causes. That's what she said she was going to work on.
Well, ironically enough, remember, President Biden was the one assigned by when he was vice president by President Obama to go down to Central America and work on root causes. So this was the assignment for the vice president. So when now President Biden comes in, he assigns that to Kamala Harris to say take care of root causes that he didn't take care of before. Whether she's been engaged in it or not, no one will say. Every time I talk to the administration, they say this is purely an issue of CDC and the Surgeon General. We don't have any influence in it. But I would tell you there was an announcement that they were going to do it quietly on March the 31st. Then they've now slowed it down to May 23rd because we've continued to expose the hypocrisy of this. We're going to continue to be able to push back. Everyone knows this is temporary. Everyone knows that it was temporary from the very beginning, but they've had a full year to be able to plan for what happens when they bring it down. And their plan seems to be, we'll just move people across the border faster.
Senator, thank you for being here, and we'll see how it goes, right?
Great to have you.
We'll continue to work. Thanks.
James Langford,
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.